Hello there, welcome back to profneel. It's a pleasure to be here. When I was compelled to debate for reservations for the Dalits in the government jobs, 1986, IHMA Ahmedabad, we were there, about to pass out, the first course of the 3-year diploma to pass out. It was in 1985, the anti-reservation for Dalits in government jobs had started and lasted for 6 months. This due to the increased percentage of jobs in government. In this inflammable time, a forward caste was against reservations. It went against my grain. In the family circles also it was discussed. Again, why this increased percentage for them? What about our children, etc. Now, 1986, an inter-class debate competition was organized at the IHMA Ahmedabad, and in the finals, I was nominated from my course. That is the third years, the passing out graduate course, and I was pitted against Alok Kakkad of the second years in the finals. Now, Alok Kakkad was a very decent guy. I mean, he's a very knowledgeable, excellent with the spoken word, and decent, a nice guy. I knew that he would never stoop low to win. So he had already earned my respect before we had to square off. The two lady teachers in charge for organizing this particular competition had taken an autocratic decision that the topic for the finals would be are reservations needed for Dalits in government jobs. And there was no lots to be done. It was just an autocratic decision of theirs. The attitude was like such. They directed me that Neelkanthan, he would speak for the motion, and Alok would speak against the motion. This was a reward for my standing up to them in class, for their at times their nonsensical directions to us. I was the only one who stood up to them in classroom, so I earned that reward. In short, and in a professional college, you don't mess with teachers who teach you core subjects, especially those in hotel management would know this. But I was a born dissenter. I am still dissent against anything that I feel is wrong. And there I was, devastated and morose. I mean, I had already lost the fight before the fight had started. I had to speak for reservations. It went against my grain. My buddy and coursemate, comrade in crime, Praveen Roy, who used to bicycle with me every day to and from the institute, 10 kilometers up and down, was a picture of calm as ever, to tersely direct me not to. I mean, he was very clear. I mean, very simple. Don't expect any sympathy from me, at least from me. But the least you can do is, Neelkanthan, you can prepare well and fight instead of running away from the fight. You're not that type of person. He verbally slapped me, assaulted me for this, for my chickening out. I was gone. I was like Arjuna. In the Kurukshetra. My Gandhi was slipping. I mean, I was a picture of confidence before the finals, till the 10th subject was announced, and I was to speak for the motion. Now, so I decided to, with Praveen Roy's this particular verbal assault, I decided to give it a try. It is a try. Let me give it a decent try. Now, there are two distinguished personalities in Ahmedabad who I knew very well. They were very knowledgeable and they had the expertise. Late Mr. Madhavan Nair, then the editor of the Times of India, and Professor Pisharudi of the Physical Research Laboratory. Now, both of them were, I enjoyed very good relationship with them. And mind you, all three of us belong to the upper caste, all from Kerala, who had a head start in all spheres of life because of our being forward caste. I had to take advantage of the inputs because they both were born and brought up in Kerala, where suppression and oppression of the so-called lower caste folks was the highest, right from being barred from the temple. Temple entry was barred to them, and they were not allowed within a certain. Even the shadow was not allowed to fall on a high caste person. That's such was their practice then. So I went to them and I was now confident with the inputs that Alok Kakkad would have a fight on his hands. At least. I would be defeated, but I would not be disgraced. At least. I was going out my plans. I said, how do I prepare for this now with my inputs? So I had made my draft points, and I had my own plans of how to rehearse because I was into oratory and in school level also. So from that day to the eve of the finals, almost a fortnight, I was beginning to build up on my plans. But Mr. Praveen Roy, my dear friend, had his own plans that how do I make this fellow ensure that he puts his plan into action. So it was as simple. As soon as we started cycling, he had my notes in his hand, and 10 kilometers every morning and every evening. While cycling, I had to speak as I was speaking in the contest, and he would write my notes. There was no question of an unforced error or enforced error. And if there ever a truck horn or a bus that came there in between and the noise, I would have to repeat that, that was beyond my control. Yet he was very, very clear about that. Neelkantan, sorry. Please repeat that again. And repeat that again meant to start from the beginning again. Oh, the entire script. He didn't spare the rod at all. Even when cycling up the Nehru Bridge, I was praying, thank God, there's only one bridge on our route to the college. 10 kilometers daily, morning, and then even 10 kilometers in the evening. In those days, it was very easy because we could cycle abreast of each other because there's very less vehicular traffic on the road. Even on the bridge, there was very less vehicular traffic. In Ahmedabad, that too. And during the institute hours, if we had some spare time, he would pull me aside and say, "Chalo, Neelkantan." In private, he says, so that nobody could hear us. Start. So what? What do you? He said, no, start practicing. Rehearsal. And that would I could have killed him. That would just be about the time when I would be making a little progress with a girl for a date. I could have really killed him. I would have skinned him alive. But he was so clear about that. And I appreciate him in hindsight, of course. His attitude was, if hard work never killed anybody, and mine was, but nobody lived to tell the tale. But he didn't hear my version at all. Was I not relaxed on the penultimate day when he told me, today is your rest day, when he cycled to college, institute? He told me that I do not have to speak on the penultimate day. But even though he didn't tell me, even though he asked me not to speak, the script was running through my mind like a ticker tape when I was cycling. On the finals, the day of the final and before the event, even though the tremendous pressure from my course mate, it was a passing out year. So the Paltan Keys was there, the regimental honor that, boss, you better win this for us. Huh? We are passing out this year. No way we are going to lose for second years. And they were going to fulfill the objective of burying me alive there and there if I had lost. But the moment I stepped onto stage, I was sublime. I knew. I quoted the 3 centuries of oppression and suppression our ancestors had inflicted on them, their ancestors, including making them carry their night soil on their heads. Then the temple entry, of course, was there. No temple entry. And then I brought on the point of the breast tax. Now, this was in the princely state of Travancore, where the Diwan, a Tamilian Brahmin belonging to my community, late C.K. Ramaswamy Iyer, the Diwan, he was the omnipotent, the boss there of that princely state called Travancore. He had imposed a tax on the Dalit women that they could not cover their bosom, and the bigger the bosom, the higher the tax they would have to pay. This was abolished till when a tribal lady or a Dalit lady named Nangili chopped off her breast, put it in a palm leaf and in a banana leaf, and gave to the collector and said, the one who was collecting the tax, "Give to your lord and master. This is my tax." She passed away, of course. From that day, the breast tax was stopped. Horrible. I mean, when I heard about it the first time, I felt so sickened. It was sickening. Such oppressive acts and others like this. All this thanks to late Mr. Madhavan Nair and Professor Pisharodi, of course. Such oppressive acts left the audience shocked. The majority of the upper castes. The jury, the two lady teachers, and Mr. Wakil, if I remember his name right, the English tutor, the English teacher for the craft courses, had no option but to acknowledge I had won the debate. And the moment I finished, I came down. That was Alokak, the gentleman. I mean, I still remember he came to shake my hand and says, "Neil, fantastic, Neil." I mean, he had no hesitation in getting up and shaking my hand before the acknowledgement. And I would have had no acknowledgement. I had no such problems in going. And because the moment he finished, I went across and done it. Because that's how we were brought up on the sports field. And that's why lessons of sports field come in much more invaluable than that 1,000 lectures in the classrooms can't teach. I learned that day I could scale Mount Everest. I could do the impossible. With focused hard work, it would always bring in results. I learned to view everything and anything from all angles. Not to be prejudiced in any situation. Not to discriminate in anyone. That in this impressionable years of being a teenager. And most important, not to chicken out before a fight, but to prepare for it, and better be defeated than be disgraced. And the devil is in the details. And I also learnt how Ambedkar was compelled to sign the Pune Pact by Mahatma Gandhi and give up his idea of teaming up with Muhammad Ali Jinnah for a united Dalit Muslim front for separate electorates for themselves. I learned from Praveen Roy how to slave drive myself. That attitude of Praveen Roy of slave driving has seen him from a campus recruitment of being a steward with Oberoi, Delhi, become the first and the only CEO of the Tourism and Hospitality Skill Council, THSC. And then after that, he became the Associate Director of the Lausanne University, Southeast Asia. Today, he is the advisor with CII. That's him and that's me. Embrace the twist to enjoy the turn.